The drug maker Pfizer plans to ask the FDA for emergency use authorization soon for its coronavirus vaccine after announcing promising results from its clinical trial just yesterday. The U.S. government is preparing to roll out multiple vaccines as soon as they're ready. And Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar is leading those efforts. He joins us now. Secretary Azar, good morning to you. Tremendously good news is progress on the vaccine. I'd like to give Americans some practical information about what happens next. So first question is, what is the date you foresee when the first American may get this all-important shot in the arm?
Well, Tony, as you said, yesterday was an incredibly historic day in public health here in the United States. The U.S. has the first vaccine with phase 3 effectiveness data, and it was incredibly positive, this Pfizer vaccine, over 90% effective in the clinical trials. So at this point, Pfizer will submit an application for emergency authorization. I anticipate them doing that very quickly. FDA will then run through its processes, looking at the science and the evidence, and they'll make an independent determination on whether to authorize that vaccine. We have millions of doses of the vaccine already prepared, and Pfizer will be producing up to 20 million a month over the next several months for use. So I'd be thinking in December, we would be focusing on vaccinating the most vulnerable. We'll have to look at the data and see which groups, but focused on the most vulnerable. And then by the end of January, we would have enough for all of our healthcare workers and first responders. And by the end of March to early April, we should have enough for all Americans of not just Pfizer, but of course the other vaccines in our portfolio. The great news is with Pfizer coming in positive, it really enhances the probabilities that we'll see the other vaccines in our portfolio that can deliver that kind of volume of production. Moderna in particular, we hope to get results very soon.
Secretary Azar, the federal government is leading the distribution, but then at some point it'll go to the states who will actually administer the doses. How are you able to guarantee that the people who get this vaccine on the early side are those who need it most, and included in that population are those who are vulnerable or part of poor communities, communities of color, those hardest hit?
Yeah, so we're working in collaboration with the governors to do this. They will actually make the determinations of who should get the vaccine within their state. We'll make recommendations based on the professional judgment of the CDC, but the governors will be in the driver's seat. We've got plans from all 64 health jurisdictions in the United States, and they'll run that process. We'll support it with the distribution system. Pfizer will be distributing their vaccine and then connecting it up with kits that we have prepared of syringes, needles, et cetera, to get that to people. But very comprehensive, localized planning will happen, and incredible data systems to make sure people who get it get the same vaccine at the appropriate time for the booster, the second shot, if it's the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine.
Right. So you mentioned those two shots. Gus Perna, the general in charge of distribution at the federal level, he told 60 Minutes that his worst nightmare, his words, is that you have the vaccine and Americans don't take it. Do you share his concern, and what's your message to those vaccine-hesitant Americans?
Yeah, vaccine hesitancy is a real problem, and I hope that the whole country will come together now and say, listen, this was an independent process. It's exactly what I've assured the American people of for months, which is there would be an independent data and safety monitoring board that determines if you even see data. That happened. There will be a pharmaceutical company of great reputation like Pfizer that will independently determine if the data meets their ethical standards. That's happening now. That will go to the FDA, and FDA will consider the application against publicly published standards and guidance that they've put out. They will have a public advisory committee of independent advisors, and FDA will make the determination if this vaccine meets their standards in a public and transparent way. So everybody will be able to talk to their healthcare provider and determine if it makes sense for them. But data and transparency and rule of law are what I hope will cause people to have great confidence in the integrity of any vaccine or therapeutic, just like the Eli Lilly monoclonal antibody that we authorized last night.
Thank you very much. We are running up against the wall here. We appreciate your perspective. It is good news for the country.
Absolutely. Thank you.